let's talk about fees and leases. So in Ohio, property managers and landlords actually have a good bit of freedom in how they construct their lease and what types of fees they can charge residents per that lease. And of course, this isn't a very popular topic with residents, who wants to pay extra fees. And in fact, as a landlord or property manager, we don't really want to charge our residents fees either. But what we find is fees can be a useful tool for two purposes, two sort of valid purposes, I would say. One is to dissuade certain types of behavior, right? So there's activities that you don't want your residents doing at a property that you manage. And these would be things like playing loud music all night, letting their dog, leave dog waste all over the yard, creating a disturbance by smoking in the unit or harassing the neighbors or something like that. So you can actually call out these types of behaviors in the lease and assign a fee to those behaviors, not because you're hoping to get rich off a tenant in the unit, but purely as a way to dissuade somebody from engaging in that behavior. You may not necessarily want to evict them over a minor violation like that, but if you assess a fee every time they do it, you're quickly going to, quell or put a stop to that activity, hopefully. The other legitimate purpose for fees that we find is as a way to compensate the landlord or property manager for activities that go above and beyond, the normal duties of a landlord. So let me give an example. Sometimes your resident may want to add somebody to the lease. Like their boyfriend moves in, they want to add them to the lease. Well, that's not something you really have to do. It's not something you agreed to do as part of the lease agreement that was signed. And it's going to involve a certain amount of work on your part. You're going to have to screen that tenant and prepare an addendum, send it out, get their signature, get it back, update your records, and so forth. So I think it's fair to assess a fee to cover your time to basically do that favor for the resident. So there's certain things like adding a tenant, removing a tenant, swapping out a roommate, and other things that we charge fees to residents for, mostly just to cover our time of dealing with that activity. So what are some other fees that you can charge that fall under these categories? Well, of course, you can charge a late fee. Most property managers and landlords are going to charge a late fee if rent isn't paid on time. You can charge a lease signing administrative fee. That's a very common one, especially in the world of multifamily, just to help reimburse the time and activity of engaging in the lease signing. Application fee, of course, that's probably the most common fee that helps reimburse you for the cost of the tenant screening and your time to do that. And you may have some other fees as well around, there could be like a monthly service fee for common area maintenance, or some property managers are even offering like a master renter's insurance policy. We do that here at RL Property Management, where the tenant is automatically enrolled in a benefits package that includes coverage for their personal belongings through renter's insurance. And that renter's insurance policy also covers liability in case the tenant were to accidentally damage the property. So, it helps, or it's useful to take some time and take a cohesive approach to the way that you're dealing with fees and make sure that you're consistent in how you're enforcing those.